Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. And today we're going to be taking a look at this 1/24 scale Aston Martin Vanquish by Welly. A little bit of background regarding this car. When I started collecting diecast cars back in late 2015, the first couple of diecast cars I purchased all online on Amazon. But this was the first car that I actually bought in my local hobby shop, like an actual brick and mortar store that I posted a video on about 2 years ago called Drogeriemarkt Müller. That's a place which sells a lot of 1/24 scale cars. And so when I was going through their shelves, I noticed this car and I immediately liked the level of detail that it had. And keep in mind, this was way back in 2015 when I started collecting. I didn't know much about the detail levels of diecast cars, what is considered good and not, and so on. I just bought it out of impulse. But now, 5 years later, I just realize how much details this diecast car has. And this, of course, is in a dark wine red color. In sunlight, it's more of a sparkly burgundy red, and arguably the most commonly available color option for the Vanquish, because Welly made this car in several other colors as well, all of which are mostly only available from sellers in China. I mean, we've got the light blue, which is probably the second easiest color to get, the white, the black, and an interesting gold metallic. So what you're looking at here is the Aston Martin Vanquish. The second generation Aston Martin Vanquish, to be more precise. And for this second gen, they decided to drop the V12 from the name, because the first gen, which was made from 2001 to 2007, was known as the V12 Vanquish. And then after a 5-year gap, they made this second gen from 2012 to 2018. So when I bought this car back in 2015, it was still being made. But now, this second-gen Vanquish has been succeeded by the DBS Superleggera, which Welly has also released a model of in 2020. But in terms of details, I really think that the Vanquish is the best-looking 1/24 Aston Martin Welly has ever made, because the newer DBS Superleggera just doesn't have the same detail level anymore as this Vanquish does, as I will proceed to show you over the course of this video. So, taking a look at the front of the Aston Martin Vanquish in 1/24 scale by Welly, this is where you'll immediately notice that this model car has the prettiest headlights I have ever seen on a 124 scale car. Because just take a look at these bulbs. I mean, they have been crafted with so much detail, it is incredible. This is something I didn't really appreciate as much when I first purchased this model car back in 2015, because I really didn't know much about model cars back in the day. But now that I actually know a lot, I realize how rare it is to find such beautiful headlights in the scale. You don't have any pegs, first of all. And then, take a look at this DRL strip right here. I mean, you can see the individual LEDs embedded into this strip, which is pretty awesome. And not only that, but if you take a look at the actual headlights themselves, the halogen bulbs, they have also been crafted with a lot of precision. To me, this was Aston Martin design and creative vision at their absolute peak. Because considering I never grew up with James Bond movies, I wasn't a fan of the older Astons with their more rounded headlights. And I certainly hate the new Astons with their tiny headlights like on the Vulcan or the 2017 Vanquish. In fact, the whole automotive industry is currently heading ever more into the sharp and angular headlight design, which I despise because it doesn't leave any room for individualism and beauty. In between the headlights, you can see that we have the Aston Martin logo, and even on this 124 scale, you can actually read the logo, which is pretty cool. And below the logo, we have this typical Aston Martin grille here, which is made out of chrome slats. And it looks pretty good. And below, we have, of course, a closed grille mesh representing the air intake for the engine. And now as we move on to the top, you'll notice that we have these two silver meshed grills here on the hood. And they do have a pattern on them, as you can see right there. Of course, it's not perforated or anything, but still, it's pretty nice. A hexagonal shape. And the hood also looks pretty cool with these lines and everything. Now let's take a look at the engine. So this is the Aston Martin Vanquish engine. And take a moment to appreciate just how much detail Welly packed into this 124 scale engine, because, I mean, wow. I mean, as a comparison, here is a picture of the 118 Aston Martin Vanquish engine by AutoArt. And you can see that the engines look very similar in terms of detail. That to me is absolutely amazing. You can see the crossbars, you can see that everything is painted so nicely, the engine blocks, you can see that it says Aston Martin on the engine blocks, 6-liter V12 in the middle. You got these canisters at the back. Everything is just absolutely amazing. And here at the front is actually a little plaque. So these cars are hand-built in England, so this plaque right here would have the name of the supervising engineer on it. And all the different Aston Martin Vanquishes have the same 6-liter V12 engine producing around 565 horsepower, with 0 to 100 acceleration in 4.1 seconds. The top speed for the 2012 and 13 model was kinda limited though at 295 kilometers per hour, but in 2014 they improved this to 323 kilometers per hour, thanks to an 8-speed transmission. But at the end of the day, this is still a car that can't keep up with even the entry-level Lambos and Ferraris. But that would really be like comparing apples to oranges. The Aston Martin Vanquish, which by the way is a lot sportier than the DB9, was never meant to be a supercar, but a luxurious grand tourer with carbon fiber to make it lighter than the DB9. I mean, they did improve the performance even more with the Vanquish S, giving it almost 600 horsepower, but yeah. And here we are at the car's side profile. And you can see that it looks pretty elegant. It is very much a two-door coupe, even though it is a 4-seater and a grand tourer. Let's check out the wheels. So you can see that Welly put a lot of details into these wheels because we actually have 5 lug nuts around the center hub, and of course this center part here has the Aston Martin logo on it. And then we also have ventilated brake discs, and we have a brake caliper on which Aston Martin is written. So that's pretty nice. And the brake disc moves through the caliper as well. And all of this on a 1/24 scale car is what makes Welly such a great brand. Right next to the wheel, you can see that we have a side vent. And if we take a closer look at this mirror here, you can see that the stock of the mirror is made out of carbon fiber, while the mirror itself, or the mirror sculpt, is in the body color. And the mirror is also of a pretty decent quality. Another thing you'll notice is that the calipers at the front are a little bit larger because they represent 15.7-inch 6-piston calipers, and at the back we've got 14.2-inch rear piston ones. And you can also see that we have another caliper at the back. Very nice level of detail. And here we are at the back of the Aston Martin Vanquish. And again, the details here are also pretty nice. The taillights, if you can tell, have been inspired by the 177s, although the 177 had both of them connected via one long centerpiece. Here they're separated, and instead we have this interesting boot lid with an integrated rear spoiler on the Vanquish, which is designed to look as if it is impossible to make, because it's cast as a single piece on the real car. So the spoiler is molded into the trunk lid, and yet there's a gap in between. The taillights themselves look pretty good, although they do have black pegs in them. You can still see that Welly put a lot of detail into the rest of the taillight. And the taillights of the Aston Martin Vanquish are shaped like wings, and you can see that same design replicated onto this Welly as well. Between the taillights in the middle you have the Aston Martin logo, and this of course also reads Aston Martin on it. And you can see it says Vanquish to the lower right, and it also says Vanquish on the rear license plate. Further below we have 2 chrome-tipped exhausts and a carbon fiber rear diffuser. And now let's take a look at the interior of the Aston Martin Vanquish. So the interior of the Aston Martin Vanquish is unfortunately kept in all black by Welly. However, Welly still managed to put a lot of details into this interior, because if you look at the center stack, this is something they actually call the waterfall design. And Welly managed to highlight every single one of the buttons inside the center stack in this absolutely beautiful silver surround and a gloss black background. You can see that we have air vents up there, and it's almost like every single one of these buttons is also readable. You even have the Aston Martin logo in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. And you also have some details here on the air vent, right to the side. And the seats are also there. Now if you look here at the back, you can actually see the back seats. And the back seats, however, are a complete joke. Like, even on the real Vanquish. You wouldn't even want to put your kids back there. It's only for insurance scammers who want to inform their company they don't have a 2-seater sports car, they have a 4-seater family car so that they can pay less premiums. And now let's take a look at the driver's side of the Aston Martin Vanquish. And you can see that we have the Aston Martin logo on the center of the steering wheel. And here's another look at the center stack. The transmission of this car is a 6-speed automatic, although later it was upgraded to an 8-speed. You can even see that we have cup holders down there. Center armrest. And the cool thing about 1/24 scale Wellys is that the front wheels swivel, and the steering wheel also corresponds to it. The floor pedals are there, but they're not painted in silver, just like the handbrake. However, we do have a gauge cluster, but it is a sticker. And here's a look at the bottom of the Aston Martin Vanquish, and you can see that it says Welly, made in China, scale 124. The exhaust system is unfortunately not painted, but it is still there. It is raised. And if you look right here, you can actually also see that we have a heat shield pattern behind the exhaust system. And this part of the exhaust system is painted in silver though, matte silver, but the exhaust tips are in chrome. Alright guys, thanks for checking out the review of this 124 scale Aston Martin Vanquish by Welly. And if you're interested in more Aston Martins, be sure to check out some of the other reviews that I've uploaded, for example, the Aston Martin DB11 or the Aston Martin DB10. I'll see you in the next review. Take care. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.